Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to another edition of Super Kickin' with Stephen and Greg, your favorite two hosts. Right here, Stephen A. 1181, the whiz over there. We are right here, starting September right with a little Bash of Berlin recap, a little No Mercy recap, and then getting through all those shows this week for WWE. Then, of course, giving our all-out predictions, and then we get a break for about a few weeks, Greg, from predicting. So we could predict some football, we could predict some whatever else, but yeah, we'll get a little break from the wrestling predictions. So, how did your Labor Day weekend go, Greg, last week, and how's your week going?
It's been good, man. I've been on vacation this week, so
Good.
I've been able to lay up and not do anything. Usually, I'll jump on a plane and go somewhere, but a host is broke these days, so
Yeah.
staycation it is. But enjoying the quiet time and not having to move and be anywhere at all. Only thing I went to my son's football game.
Yeah.
He's 16 years old in JV football right now, so
Okay.
I get to go and roll up and see his game. And otherwise, just laying low. Life is good, man.
Phoenix has been super hot. I heard 100-degree days for a few days out there.
Don't try every day.
Yeah.
We're finally get to the point where it's going to drop out of the 100-degree range. Probably another week and a half, maybe.
Okay.
So we're getting to the end of the 100-degree streak, but it's still going right now.
Yeah, we got like a 70 some degree day today. And then next week we still have like a 90, 80 something days. So it'll kind of bounce back and forth. It's that fall tease for us today, but then cranks it back up. So yeah. I had a good time in Pittsburgh last week. Got to see Green Day. Got to see Rancid. Got to see that other band that I didn't care for at all. So
Pumpkins?
yeah.
Didn't care for the pumpkins?
Did not care for the Pumpkins at all.
Oh
I went to the
man.
merch table during their set, Greg. I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot, and yeah, it's just something about his voice, and I'm all about emo music and whiny voices, Greg. Obviously, it's not like Billy Joe Armstrong has this beautiful singing voice,
Right.
but there's just something grating about his voice. Yeah, so. Uh, I don't know if we want to get into the Lincoln Park stuff. I didn't even realize they were throwing out a new singer this week, Greg. But Twitter is definitely giving their opinions about her, and
Oh, I'm
good luck.
sure.
Good luck as she navigates that. Because and then there was also other stuff that came out about her, Greg. So hopefully some of that other stuff is not as true or something. But yeah, so Lincoln Park's kind of back in the thick of things, and we'll see what they shall do with their new singer. I mean, it's been about what 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Since Chester passed away, so um, yeah. So anyway,
Hey,
but
hey, I'm for it, man. I'm rooting for him. Shout out to Chester. I was lucky enough to be able to meet him in person
yeah,
at the will call window at a Nine Inch Nails show.
hmm
And when there's thousands of people in line across 6, 7 lines, unless you're standing right there next to him, you're not even going to know he's there.
yeah,
So I was in the right place at the right time, and he was cool enough to just stand there and talk to anybody who wanted to talk to him,
hmm
shake hands, take a picture. And he was totally, he's the last person you expect to be a rock star. And he was so cool. So I'm glad I got my moment with him. And I've seen them 3 times live, so I know how great he is in person, on stage. So I'm gonna miss not going to a Linkin Park show because I will still go and not see him on stage. There's gonna be plenty of tributes to him and all that. But I listened to the new girl. The new song is awesome.
hmm
But because it's them putting it together and not having to impose Chester's voice or anything. But um, when she's doing the old stuff, it's gonna take some getting used to. I won't lie.
yeah, yeah,
Um, it's it's a different voice delivery. It's like listen to a cover band almost, but
mhm.
you know, it's them just with one different voice. So it's gonna take some getting used to, but I'm still down with him, still with him, and I hope they do like a big world tour so everybody gets the chance to see him. And I'm sure they will because
Yeah,
they're
it
going to
feels
go
like
fully
something
loaded.
through, and yeah.
Yeah, drop a new album and then they're going to hit the road. So if I get a chance to see him, I'll definitely go see him.
Well, I know
But
we're big music nuts, and I just think anytime the singer's it's got to be the hardest thing to replace.
yeah,
If you have
for
such an
sure.
iconic voice too. I mean, there's no way they're going to find somebody like him. So it's going to
Right.
feel that like weird way. Um, I just, I think about Queen. Like you had Adam Lambert step in, and
Hmm.
people were like, "Oh, like the," and then, you know, he's been with them for 12 years now, Greg, and so he's not slowing
Yeah.
down. And it is crazy though. I'm like, man, I do wish we could get new music out of them, but I think the two big members, Brian May and Roger Taylor, are so um, not stuck, but they know Freddie Mercury's legacy, and they don't
Yeah.
want to like not tarnish it per se, but like it's so hard to like think about like trying to create new music, when you have that. I mean, and of course, Queen has what the huge and the big one of the biggest catalogs of music available. So
Right.
I just think or I think back to Foo Fighters, like yes, it's Taylor Hawkins, the drummer, but he also had his own identity to the band. So it's just crazy to think like, yes, you're replacing this person, but um, you got to find somebody that fills your own criteria for what you want. So,
Right.
um, but anyways, one of these days we will start I will get back to my music podcast because I miss it. Talking about music. But today, let's talk it up. Bash in Berlin. My first thing, Greg, should we talk about it? You talked me into here. I've talked to you into Liv Morgan and Dominic many a times, Greg, and now you talked me into it. And our damn prediction went south. But
Yeah.
it gives me hope, though, that I think Liv can come on top in the end. Do you think that's the direction for Liv?
Um. Yes, in the sense that is Rhea going to get the title back? No, there's still going to be something that gets in the way. I mean, probably the rest of the Judgment Day, but the shenanigan game is still strong, and it's going to be too many tricks in the bag for Rhea to successfully pull it off. At least right now, I don't see her get that belt back until next year
Yeah.
um, during the road to WrestleMania, and there's still plenty of mileage left in that vehicle to stretch this out for that long. So, and everybody's eating it up. So why would you stop it right now? And if Rhea gets the title back now, that's pretty much it. Game over. So
Yeah.
um, you got to keep it going. And there's enough juice to keep this ball rolling. So
I think we got to get.
getting her a win is a good thing to do. So you know, you see she's not getting, you know, caught at every turn, but
Yeah.
um, this is a way to, keep the story going and work this machine. It's working.
I was just saying, I know we don't do intergender matches often or rare. Can
Oh,
we
we
get Rhea?
should.
Can we get Rhea and Dom? I mean,
We sh-
on a Raw, like a quick 5 minute match. Maybe that's the way to get Rhea in a match against Liv. But um, I say do it. I say pull the trigger on it. I think Rhea wants to do it. I think Dom would be fine with it too. So I'm thinking in the next couple weeks we might see Rhea and Dominic go 1-on-1 in a match,
and
Greg.
we should do it. It would be so amazing. I mean, look at those intergender matches from Lucha Underground.
Yeah,
Shout out to my favorite defunct show, Lucha
yeah.
Underground. Those intergender matches were bangers.
Now they're not going to
And
get quite that that violent, Greg, but
right, not that violent, but
but
still,
I
I
think
mean,
they could give us something fun along the way to get us to maybe Dominic is trying to get a match, or maybe Damien's trying to get a match with Dominic, and Rhea steps up and says, "Well, if I could beat you, Damien gets a match with you," or something like that.
uh-huh.
So
Yeah, I'd be down with that for sure. But the problem is that the backlash from all the groups of Karens out there will come
It could. I
straight out
mean,
the woodwork and
yeah,
try to cancel WWE in a second. Even though this is an athletic competition and we know what the story is, it's no different than watching it
it
happen
could
in the
be. Yeah,
movie.
yeah, and that
So,
could be
but
the downfall because of the transgender issues and people going with that idea. So I, they probably won't pull the trigger, but if there's ever time to
yeah,
do it, and like I said, you do it on a roll and get it out of the way and move ahead. But yeah. So, what about WWE champion? We opened the night, Greg, with Cody Rhodes. I mean, I guess we all knew Gunther was going to win at the end and get his moment. Got a little respect factor with Randy, but we did not see any sort of heel turn from Kevin Owens yet, Greg. I know you're calling for Cody Rhodes. He'll get Solo Sokoa in a cage match. Kind of funny to think that we're getting a lights out cage match tomorrow or tonight, Greg, and now we're getting a regular old cage match on the debut, the re-debut, or whatever return to brand for SmackDown on USA Network next week. Pretty good match between Kevin Owens. I felt like they really worked well together. I think they've only fought each other one other time or so. Um, do we still? Are you still going with Cody Rhodes turns on Kevin in the end, Greg, or are we done with that right now?
um, I don't see where it goes from here. I mean, there's no um, there's no nothing left undone as far as nobody turned. There's no reason for any more heat between the two.
Mhm.
Kevin just lost, so why would he get a rematch?
Yeah.
Um, what story would there be behind doing it again,
Hmm.
or even continuing um, along this journey of one turning on the other? There's no point.
Yeah.
So nothing happened in this match that left anything unresolved.
Hmm.
So I think, for all intents and purposes, this angle is over.
Yeah. I mean, I get you, and I guess it's one of those things you leave it open so you could revisit it down the road if you really wanted to, and give us a turn or give us some reason to it. So,
True.
yeah,
I
probably,
suppose so, with Kevin pulling his well, not pulling the trigger on
yeah, he didn't,
going
he
after
did
Cody
not.
when he was hurt.
Hmm.
That could be it. He's like, I could have beat you, but I didn't.
Hmm.
I saw you were hurt, and I could have jumped on your leg and tore it to shreds, but I didn't do that because I'm a good guy. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I guess there's that
We still have
one.
that angle out there if you really want to revisit it.
Yeah.
So, surprise win here, Greg, for the women's tag team championship. We kind of thought Unholy Union would roll. They did get the win on Monday night to get the rematch, but yeah, they ain't going anywhere after that, Greg.
Nope. Um.
So Bianca and Jade get the win, and I mean, I still am buying your story of I think we get Blade. I almost put them together. Bianca and Jade. I mean, they have to go one on one at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So and we got plenty of time. I mean, we say we got plenty of time as the counter gets closer, Greg. We'll see where we're at, but I think you give them another run through the fall, and then see
Mhm.
where we're at by Royal Rumble time.
Right. I mean, we're still 6 months out right now, so
Yeah.
you take 3 months, go to the end of the year, and then get that happening. And you gain all your momentum is building as you get to WrestleMania. So um, maybe it made more sense for them to give the straps back to them, so they have a reason to stay together. And if you have a feud that you drag it out for 6 months, it better have all the meat on the bone.
Mhm.
Uh, if you're going to do that, then have a natural way to keep them tied into each other until that time. So
Mhm.
giving the straps back makes the most sense. Keeps them in each other's orbit, and once the turn happens, then you have half that time to build it up, which is pretty much the right amount of time. 2 months, 3 months, let the heat build and get that momentum going, and then you got a banger of a match at WrestleMania. So
Mhm.
it's still working, and I'm all the way behind it.
I guess the Unholy Union got their win in Clash at the Castle. That was their moment in Scotland, Greg. So
Yep.
happy for them. But yeah, I don't see them doing much after they lose again. So look, and they haven't had Blair Davenport kind of back with them yet. So maybe that's a cog in the wheel that they can use. But yeah. So how about CM Punk, Drew McIntyre? CM Punk gets a win. Drew got the better of CM Punk, Greg, on Monday night, which we'll talk about in a couple minutes. But CM Punk was finally a smart wrestler. As he was on Drew's back, he was tapping along there at one point. So I know we've seen that before in a strap match where you have the corners, but that was pretty funny to kind of see that. And then yeah, just a really solid match between the two. Plenty of strap usage in there. And yeah, CM Punk gets the win, but Drew McIntyre got the ultimate better half of CM Punk on Monday night, which, like I said, can't wait to get into that. I guess it's going to be interesting to see who gets the Hell in a Cell win, because that's where we're heading, Greg.
Yep. I love this match. It was how I expected it to go,
Yeah.
especially with while one drags the match or drags the other around and tags the turnbuckle, that the other sneakily tags it behind him, so he stays on count with the other one.
Yep.
But it was a good return to the old school strap match. I like that more than just having the two locked together with the strap and duking it out. It just I dig the nostalgia depending on what it is. So going back to the old school, doing it this way since we haven't seen it so long and love it. But it told a great story, had a great match.
Yeah.
The brutality delivered, and then you had Punk securing the win with that last GTS, getting his bracelet back and using it to tag that last turnbuckle. Uh, Perfect finish. So no complaints about this match at all.
And then Randy Orton taps out, Greg. I can't even tell you the last time Randy Orton would have tapped out in a match to Gunther, and then gives him a little show of respect afterwards. So now we're off and running on Gunther and Sami Zayn again. And then, I think it's just going to be interesting to see where Gunther will be, at Royal Rumble. What big match can you give him there? And then WrestleMania. Because right now, it's a very unclear picture. So Randy Orton gets his moment with Gunther, and yeah, really, really good match there. Lots of technical wrestling, lots of good back and forth action, everything we expected, Greg. And Gunther gets a nice win in his next door neighbor home country. I know he probably cut his teeth plenty in Germany and Europe, so close enough. But yes, and we had the Ludwig intro. What a camera shot that was, Greg, because some people were like a little upset. They're like, oh no, look, Ludwig's not here. And then he just, his hand just rolls into the camera like this, and he gets his shine, and everything worked in this match. And like I said, making Randy Orton tap out is huge. I mean, it is crazy to think how well Gunther has been booked. I mean, from day one, fresh off the boat of Europe to NXT UK into NXT and now. So props to everything for what they're doing with Gunther.
Hey, amen to that. I am a Gunther fanatic, love the man, and this match brought it. It was an awesome match, and him getting the win with the sleeper hold. There's no doubt. No worry about his shoulder being up or anything.
Yep.
It's the perfect way to close the match, and that the whole stadium was just uproarious about him, and you can feel the whole place just shaking through the screen.
Yeah.
That's one thing I dig about the Europe contest. The ones that they're hugely into. Go back to AJ Styles and Cody,
Oh yeah.
and then go to
This one.
the AEW show with Big Bill and his.
Yeah.
They're into you, and they're singing and they're bouncing, and you can feel the whole place shaking. That gives me goosebumps seeing
Yep.
that. It's an awesome sight. Um, but to be a little hypocritical though, sometimes I hate it because it hijacks the match.
Yeah.
When
Like
they're
the
doing
way.
it, and trying to be serious and deliver a hot promo to set up the match that you're going to have, and they're just singing through it and won't shut up, and it's distracting everybody.
Yeah.
And you're like, guys, you need to be quiet so we can let this heat get out. And they don't care. They're just singing, they're bouncing, and they're chanting for whomever. Um, so there's times that the Euro crowd, I don't like them, but
Yep.
that's their thing. What are they known for? Being the soccer hooligans. So that's what they do. They sing and they jump and they clap and they the whole time during a soccer match. I guess you have to do that to stay awake because it is kind of a boring sport to watch from such a large stadium, in my opinion. I mean, there's a lot of people everywhere else outside of America that would disagree with me, but um, so I love it and I hate it for the same reasons. Um, but for this match, it was great to see it, and Randy and Gupta deserve that love. So um, again, no complaints about it. It was a fantastic match. Love the crowd interaction, and you gotta have a Rock and Hogan moment. Them standing there and one looking this way, the other looking the other way, and then the same the other side, and just letting that cook for a little while.
Yep.
So you got 2 minutes of them just standing in the middle of the ring, absorbing all that love. So they both deserve it so much. So I love that.
Yep. Some No Mercy stuff. Well, Greg, Nathan, Frazier, and Axiom, the demise has been greatly exaggerated, but Chase U is,
Apparently.
man, Chase U, I would not want to go to that school, Greg. They've had a lot of issues, and now they get a Ridge Holland nutcase storming the corridors and dorm rooms of Chase U, Greg. I did not see that coming. Chase, Ridge. I mean, I guess he's probably due for something like that, Greg. But that was pretty much a surprise to see him turn right there. Usually you wait till the TV episode to pull the NXT said, "Heck no, let's just do it now. Let's give a moment." So you had Chase U lose and Ridge go crazy. Um, what's next for him, Greg?
I don't know. I guess he's going to be feuding with the Chase U, uh, the guys for a while, and
You think he joins up with Gallus? Because didn't
it could be
they tried to recruit him? I thought earlier.
he would definitely fit with Gallus for sure. Um, and then you have reason to have a
4-on-4.
3-on-3,
Yeah.
4-on-4 type match. So it'd be a natural progression for him. And he always was the one that didn't fit because you knew his history, you knew why he was down there,
True.
and he's a hothead. So letting something simmer for a couple of days, that's not his style. So I loved what they did there, and now we're gonna get some good run with him, with Andre Chase, with Riley Osborne, with Duke, who we figured was going to be the guy who originally turned on Chase U, and never has. And he's going to work his way through all of them, and probably at some point get locked in with Gallus.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could really pull the trigger and have Duke down the road join up with Ridge if you really wanted to mess things with Chase U. Having Ridge get in Duke's head. I mean, Duke looks out of place and with them, so why not maybe pull the trigger on that? Because I mean, I guess you look at Chase U, they're going to have a shelf life on the main roster, Greg. So you probably need to round out something for them if you want to call them up at some point. So
I agree.
So we'll see. But
now this match, some props because I wasn't feeling this match.
Yeah.
I wasn't unsure how I was gonna be.
Yeah.
But this match really over delivered to me.
Okay. Yeah.
This was a great match, and it kept me hooked. I was locked in from the start to the finish, and like I said, I didn't think I was gonna like it. I've never been into Nathan Frazier and Axiom. They're a good team. They have some good combo moves, but I think their presentation has left me wanting for them because I don't feel that they're comic book characters and they're doing the whole, flashy superhero thing and
Hmm.
but a different type of presentation to go along with their how fast they are and how cohesive they are
Hmm.
may have a different result. But I've never really felt them as a team, even though they've held the straps for so long already. But this match got me. I was loving it for uh, both sides, and I thought that they was going to or Chase U was going to retain, but
Hmm.
as we got deeper in that match, and it was either way, and they did a great job of making it look like that either team could win at any second. So I went from not caring about this match to loving this match by the end of it. So that's great storytelling. That's them putting the work in to deliver for us on a big event.
And I guess it did was I think it was on Tuesday night they used Rich's words like where he's like he's Chase U's only useful if they have the championship for him. So it makes a lot of sense he would just turn right away because they
Mhm.
lost the titles. So, what a week for Zach Wentz. I think he got a win at Impact Wrestling. Greg, he gets a win over Wesley. Does Wesley maybe get that X Division title in the end, Greg?
I think so. The X Division was my favorite part of TNA when TNA was hot because they had some awesome guys come through and hold that belt. And the Ultimate X match is a match that is unmatched as far as uh, the concept and what you have to do.
Yep.
I haven't watched them lately and saw a recent Ultimate X match, but I'm sure they're still doing them.
Yeah.
But it's a high wire act, and how you win the belt with it suspended above the ring, and there's no ladders. You have to go get it a different way.
Yeah.
Um, always love that concept. So I think this could end up, like you said, with Wesley with that belt and going after him now that he's taken an L on NXT, chasing him over to TNA and taking his belt so he can bring it back to WWE and goes, I got your title now.
Mhm.
So, you have more room to tell more of a story with these two, especially now that the TNA wrestler has beaten the WWE superstar. So I love what they're doing right there.
Yeah. That's what I think. Yeah. And he, I guess depends on the partnership. Like, even if it's a couple month run, you know, for Wesley with the title, I mean, it shows, hey, I got the better end of you that once. That's all I needed. So, Kaylani Jordan keeps rolling, Greg. She did defeat Wendy Chu. Tatum Paxley, I believe, showed up at the end uh,
Yep.
and kind of took out Wendy Chu, and Rosemary was involved. So, we're going to get some creepiness. Now, Lyra stepped up to help Tatum on Tuesday night, Greg. So, we're going to get, Wendy Chu and Rosemary going together. Looks like kind of, the undead realm is seeping into other avenues, Greg.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. I'm an OG fan of Rosemary all the way back to when, again, the TNA was the place to be. And Rosemary was doing her thing. It's cool seeing her again because, it's been a minute since I've seen what she looks like. And she's
Yeah.
changed her appearance quite a bit from
Mhm.
what I remember. But it's still Rosemary. She's still, dark and creepy. And she's as good as ever. So I like seeing her back on TV again. Um, she's not going to TNA to look for her,
Yeah.
but um, she and Wendy Chu are a natural fit. As is Tatum Paxley, depending on what in the world she's trying to do. And give me more of that. So all three of them can chase Kalani, and Kalani can stack L's or stack W's,
Yeah.
and you know give the other girls some some shine.
Yeah, the character of Tatum is still. I mean, I feel like she should be with Wendy too, because she's a nutcase. So it's
Yeah.
weird. I I think they're trying things, Greg, but I don't. It's not really sticking yet, and that's probably a scary thing because she's been kind of doing it for like 5 or 6 months now, or 4 or 5 months. So it's all about letting things play out, Greg. But sometimes you also have to look and be like, okay, maybe this isn't, and maybe that's why you bring Lyra. Maybe it gets Tatum a little more on the normal side,
Hmm.
gives her a little more character. But yeah. Speaking of being completely a darn good package, all but Femi, Greg, I do not know who the hell is beating him.
No.
He's got everything down. It will be very interesting to see who they choose to beat him. If they do, do you pull out the old Oscar move, Greg, and let him retire that belt and jump up to the main roster? Because, I mean, this guy is a killer. Everything works about him. The crowd is reacting. Um, it is, I mean, everything is crazy about him, how well things are working for him.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, he's the whole package, the look, the size. He's solid in the ring, and he doesn't go outside of what he should be doing. Everything he does is with a purpose. You're not going to see him doing moonsaults off the top rope and things that don't fit his his character. Um, he's a brutalizing machine. He's going to pick you up. He's going to throw you all over the ring, and he's going to power bomb you through the mat, and he's going to pin you. Um, so he sticks to the script. He does what works for him, and it works. And he can work on the mic. He's got everything figured out. It's just a matter of getting some more seasoning. And I think after WrestleMania next year, he's going to be ready to come up.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, him holding the belt all the way through WrestleMania and retiring the belt, or retiring, Oscar style without dropping the belt, I could see that happening. But I will say that right now, my feeling is the guy that's going to beat Obafemi is not on the roster yet
Yeah.
in NXT.
Yeah.
So somebody may come down from the main roster, or somebody may come from the outside, but the person that's going to beat him is not there in NXT right now. I will say that. So as of this date, I'm booking that statement. And if he drops it, it's going to be somebody who's not there.
Well, good segue, Greg, because I think we know who's going to beat Roxanne now. After the debut of Julia, a former Japanese wrestler over there in the Joshi wrestling, she's in the vein of Kairi Sane, of Asuka, of Io Sky, Greg. She shows up finally, and she looks like she is going to take that damn title off of Roxanne and send Roxanne back into the main roster, Craig, because they're going to shoot Julia to the moon, just Asuka style.
Oh, okay. I'll be paying attention because I was looking at her. It's like, who is she? I
Yeah.
thought she may have been a wrestler from a year or 2 years ago that just changed her look or whatever,
Well,
because
it is
I don't
funny because she
recognize her.
doesn't have the Asian typical look, which
Yeah.
hopefully doesn't
Um,
sound PC, Greg. But like it is a hard,
yeah.
But she is. I think, yeah, she wrestled with EO, Kairi Sane, all those girls. So she definitely is in the vein of those women. So
Okay. Okay. And if that's what it is, then I'll be watching very closely because
Mhm.
um, you can tell there's a little something special about her. Um, without having seen her, or I thought when they said it's Julia, I was looking for Julia Hart, and I was
Yeah.
like, no, that's not
Mhm.
her.
Yeah.
And so,
Julia with
um,
the G.
right, that's it. I'm like, Julia, okay, I've never heard of this chick,
Mhm.
but I hope that is what it is, and she gets the Oscar treatment and becomes that next girl. As long as she's as good as in the ring as Oscar was, or
Mhm.
Kyrie.
Yep.
um, And it sounds like that's the case, that she's on that level. Then you sign me up, because
Mhm.
Roxanne has done a great job rolling through the whole women's division, and she could use another Titan of a challenger to finally supplant her. So
Yep.
um, I'm in. Based on what you said, I'm in. I want to see it.
And then Ethan Page defeats Joe Hendry. Not the last we've seen of Joe Hendry. I think he will go off, and kind of stay in TNA for the time being, Greg. But definitely not the last we've seen of Joe Henry in NXT. Really good match. We had Trick Williams having to call the pinfall for Ethan Page. You wonder if maybe Trick does get the title back off of Ethan Page, Greg, but we also have the Pete Dunne factor. I mean, Pete Dunne is yet to win anything. Well, he was, NXT UK champion. I don't believe he won any singles titles in NXT, though.
No, I don't think he did.
Yeah.
So they
So
may have won the tag team.
maybe.
Did he win the tag?
Yeah. Yes, with. Man, I can't remember now. Was it with Birch? Danny Birch back in the day?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which I want to say.
could be. Because I remember Birch's other tag team partner, the bald guy. Or
Oh,
no.
okay. Maybe I'm thinking. Okay. Maybe I am wrong then. Anyways, he never won a singles title. So, I mean, Pete Dunne's due for something.
Yeah.
But Ethan Page, everything's working for him right now, Greg. So, hard telling who's going to beat him. But I do wonder if they'll pull the trigger on the 2-time title run for Trick. Just because, I mean, that right now, there's nobody else in that in that vein right now that could do it. So, really solid match, and yeah, Ethan Page keeps rolling, and Joe Hendry, like I said, not the last we've seen of him, Greg.
No, definitely not. He is mega over, and I'm still not there with him yet. The match was good.
Okay.
Probably my least favorite match of the night, but I get what they were doing. The ends or the ending of the match justify what they're trying to do. Great finish, and Trick reluctantly having to count for him.
Yeah.
Was a nice touch. But you can tell Joe Hendry's definitely not out of the picture. I just want to see some meanness out of him. I want to see the, not, happy, joy all the time. I want to see some fire in his eyes, and I want to see him, get mad and start, have that little, that fire in him.
Yeah. I agree.
Get out of control every once in a while. So, he just feels too dimensional at this moment for me.
Yep.
So, but he has time to get that out and show it to us. And when he loses it and just destroys him and start beating him down with a chair and doing all the pulling some bad guy out of him, that they maybe put me over the ledge for Joe Hendry. So but right now I'm not there, but at least they had a good match. And shout out to this whole card, because this was as close to the best NXT PLE that I've seen, from the first match to the last match. Everybody brought it, and I don't have anything to complain about with an NXT card for once, because the other ones, they've been pretty dicey here and there, but this one over delivered. So I'll use that word again. They definitely over delivered. Everybody brought it, and I was very pleased with this card.
Nice to get out of the Performance Center too, and I think we're hearing the Performance Center could be picking up and leaving to Vegas soon, Greg, because of the UFC tie-in. So, maybe that will give it a little bit of breath of fresh air too, in a new environment. And but yeah, the I'll be curious. We haven't quite seen them get back on the road yet. I wonder what's maybe they're waiting for that move, then they could get on the road, because probably easier to get out of Vegas than it is down there in Orlando area. So I'll be very curious what that move does do. So
maybe that's the secret sauce, is that getting them out of that Orlando facility and into big arenas,
Yeah.
or bigger arenas, is
To
they're
kind of
not the
get that
biggest seat,
mojo back.
right? And they're feeling it, and they bring it even more because now they're out of their comfort zone, out of that little spot that they wrestle in, and now you're getting a place twice that size,
Mhm.
and they feel the pressure and they rise to it. So, get them out of that building and into a more, touring the world and into bigger settings is actually doing the trick for them.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's maybe do some quick hits on Raw. Uh, kind of a happy accident when Rhea got tied up into those ring ropes, Greg, and Liv Morgan took full advantage of it. Um, we did see the end of the night, Damian Priest and Jay Uso. So we're now going to visit the Jay Uso Rhea Ripley romance. Greg, are you in for
I
it?
am here for it. I want to see how it goes because it's just too good to leave it alone. If Rhea's finally down with it, and it looks like she is,
Yeah,
um, you know, with him being involved in the match at all, whose influence that was. And Jay's like, I'm not saying no to Rhea. So,
exactly.
if it ends up being a real thing, I'm here for it. Um, and just very ironic, like you said, that the same thing happens to her that happened to Damien
Yeah,
at
that is
that pay per
true.
view a couple of months ago.
They got to work on
Ties
their
up in the
falling
same
over the.
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy irony, especially considering who
Hopefully
her.
she's okay though. She was on crutches. Damien was able to finish the match, Greg, and
Yeah,
then Rhea was on crutches in the end of the night. So hopefully everything is good there. But uh, good on Liv to just take full advantage of it and
yeah,
make it
very smart.
believable. So American Made, what do we think, Greg? They defeat Alpha Academy. Now they're calling the Wyatt Six to a street fight next week. So this is the WWE week, Greg, because all three shows will be on USA, and it's they're calling it the season premiere, which of course we have to laugh, Greg, because there's really no end in the season. But anyways,
Right.
um, what do we? I don't know which way to. I mean, American Made eventually has to go over on the Wyatt Six to give us some belief in them, right?
Um, hmm, you'd think, but the Wyatt Six is just now having their first matches.
That's the only thing. Like,
Um,
it's a hard
they're
sell to me.
yeah, they're both in the same position.
Yeah,
Um, New heel stable, new, if you can call the Wyatt Six
Ace.
face stable, they're pretty much the face
Yeah,
stable. Um, so having them trade, W's back and forth, what makes sense. Um, we'll always have the Wyatts ranked above American Made.
mhm.
Um, so even if they do take an L, we're still going to be waiting for them to get the rematch and get that W back. So it's a great rivalry to get started. Um,
Or
and it
maybe
would
the
make
Wyatt.
sense for them to just dominate all the matches. So
That's the thing. That's what I'm afraid of. Like, what does it do for American Made? Like, I know they can lose. Could they at least take out, a couple members of the Wyatt Six? Maybe take out. Maybe Ivy takes out Nikki, if you want to go that route. It's
mhm,
they're. Let's face it, Ivy and Nikki are not the main players right now, Greg.
right,
Ivy did get to beat Maxine, so maybe that's a way to do it. But I, it should be a good match. Maybe it is street fight, so we'll have all the
yeah,
shenanigans. Maybe Alpha Academy has somebody lurking in the shadows that we don't know about. That could give them an edge, Greg. I don't know who that is, but I mean that might help them get the edge over the White Six because, um, like you said, we can't have the White Six just dominate them with the American Made being so fresh and new in our mind.
yeah,
So, yeah. Shayna Baszler gets a win for the what are they fusion? Was it premium fusion collective, whatever they're called?
yeah.
What fusion? Yeah. So
Pure Fusion
pure
Collective.
fusion. There it is. Yes.
Mhm.
PFC. How about that?
Yeah, we should just go with that because that's too much of a mouthful.
It's too much of a mouthful. Speaking of which, what a segue, Greg. Let's just get into it. A freaking beaded necklace gets broke, or bracelet, and shoved in a gullet of CM Punk, Greg. I don't know if you saw, but the girl who gave the bracelet to CM Punk did tweet out, said it was a nice run for the bracelet, Greg. Yeah, but what a scene that was. Uh, Man, every time I think, okay, what can we do next? They give us, they give us that. Like, it does kind of suck. Maybe that girl can remake it, and CM Punk could get in touch with her and be like, hey, just here's my PO box, or
Yeah.
something like that, or here's the WWE stamp for Connecticut. But what a scene that was, to see that bracelet just torn to bits, shoved in the mouth, and then Drew McIntyre. I mean, MVP of the year so far, Greg.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it might be hard to. I mean, I know Gunther's up there. Like, we'll get our year-end predictions soon, but man, we got a few names out there for once, Greg, that I think we can throw out as MVPs of the year.
Absolutely. I mean, if my Booker T, I love it, man. Drew just doing it. He is getting it in, man. I love everything, all of this. He may have taken the L at the PLE, but
Yeah.
he came back with a vengeance.
Yeah,
And he is
just a little bit.
just a little bit, yeah. And he is putting in the work. He's putting in the time, and now you look at it like, okay, what can they do to top what they just did with the strap match? And boom, there you have it. This bracelet that is so precious to CM Punk, I'm gonna take it and shove it down your throat, literally. And once he pulls it up, because I didn't expect that to happen. I thought that that necklace or that bracelet is gonna stay there as the anchor of this whole feud. And when he broke it off, I was like, that popped me. I was like, oh, okay. And he takes it, and he still has most of the beads in his hand and sticks them down Punk's throat. He's beaten down already. And I was like, okay, he's not putting that bracelet back together anymore.
That bracelet is not getting back together, Greg.
Yeah, those pieces went everywhere, and he probably swallowed one or two of them. So, oh man, now we turned the heat all the way up.
That's why we need Hell in a Cell.
Going into bad blood.
You shove a bracelet down somebody's throat, Greg. You need Hell in a Cell.
Now it's on. I love it, man.
Yeah, that is about as heelish as you can get. But we did have a couple IC title contender matches. So Bronson Reed tested positive for COVID.
Crap.
I didn't realize they still tested for COVID, but whatever, Greg. So that's why Braun was in there at the end. Dragunov gets the win, and then Braun gets the win. So we have Jay. Who's the other? There was another winner. Was it? We had 2 win last week. No, I can't remember. You remember who won last week, Greg?
With who?
Wasn't it for the IC title contenders matches? Jay Uso, Shane, or Dragunov, Braun Strowman, and we had a 4th person who I cannot remember for the life of me.
I want to say it was Jay.
No, yeah, that's who I said already. Jay, Oh well. Let me look on the. Anyways, 2 good matches for it. I'm trying to look up last week. So last week would have been September. Nope, August. Blah, 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 blah. Where's it at?
While we're looking, how awesome was that power bomb, or not the power bomb, but the tsunami off
the car
wall onto the car?
We're never going to see something like that again.
Holy crap, dude! Yeah. I mean, and
hope you got the insurance on that rental.
Yeah, you got the extra collision and all that. Yeah, that was definitely a collision. And from the camera angle, how high that wall was above the car.
Yeah, that was a pretty good leap.
Yeah, I mean, probably another 10 feet, and then you figure Bronson's probably what 6'3", 4", somewhere like that.
Braun's the only guy that could have taken that without getting maybe the wind knocked out of him. Anybody else taking that would have been like, nope.
Exactly, and
Oh,
landed
Pete
flush on
Dunne.
top of him. There was no,
Yeah.
landing halfway and then just dropping your body on him. He landed square on top of Braun from
Mhm.
that height. Um, it blew out the window, so that was a great effect
Yeah.
when it landed. And oh my God, I was scared for both of them at that moment, especially Braun.
Mhm.
But that was amazing.
Yeah.
So you got to give props to that spot because did not see that coming. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, him standing on the roof of the car and diving onto Braun on the hood, maybe, but him
Yeah.
coming off that barrier,
Just threw it.
holy crap.
Mhm.
What amazing.
So our IC title contenders match will be Pete Dunne, Jey Uso, Braun Strowman, and Dragunov. I'm hoping you could get Bronson Reed to take out Strowman. He's probably, I would think a week is a good to be back or be
Yeah.
out for COVID. Guess depending on, you know, um, symptoms. But it's Jey Uso's to lose, right?
Yeah, it
And
is.
when Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker, either at Bad Blood. Do you think we wait for Bad Blood, or do they just do it in the next couple weeks?
I think we should do it in Bad Blood. And, they put the teaser out there with them having a little run in
Hmm.
with each other backstage and just kind of, lighting the match
Yeah.
on the fuse
Hmm.
and getting it started. So, a couple weeks to, get a couple promos in and get a couple uh, run ins on each other
Yeah.
and then have the match, I think would be the best. So
Hmm.
save it for the PLE for, the real match.
And one more loss in the L column for a title match for Jey Uso. Uh,
Unfortunately.
I I don't know when they're going to pull the trigger on him winning the title, Greg.
I still think there's bigger fish to fry for Jay
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess we got
with
to get back to the bloodline stuff for him to
yeah.
get that. So
I think that's the only reason they haven't done it yet is
yeah, that's true.
because he has a much larger role waiting for him
Yeah,
once the
the
OG bloodline gets reassembled.
war games match, and then see where we go
Yep.
after that. So
Yep.
yeah. Sami Zayn, or sorry, the Unholy Union win the match, but Bianca and Jade kind of got involved and screwed over Io Sky in it. Uh, yeah, so that happened. What about Sami Zayn being the next contender for Gunther? That's another guy, Greg. That's like world heavyweight title would look kind of nice on him, but it ain't happening anytime soon.
No. Um, and I wasn't into it when, Gunther's doing his promo of who's next and Sammy's music hit. But I see it in the sense that, like they said, the last person to pin Gunther
Gunther.
was
Yep.
Sammy when he
Mhm.
took the Intercontinental title. So he has a stake to it in the sense that I was the last guy that beat you. Now, if you
So
want
why
to
not?
clear that blemish off your record,
You got to beat me.
you got to beat me. So I get it, and it's just another. Um, it's more feathers to fluff Gunther's pillows as he stacks W's on the road to WrestleMania. So um, I'm with it
And
now because Sammy's the contender, but he's a level lower than Randy Orton was, in my opinion. Um,
yeah,
but he still carries that main event, uh, swagger with him. So, it'll be a banger of a match, but I think we already know who's going to come out ahead of it.
well, and also I think that people brought this up in some of the reviews, Greg, where it was a nice way to tie in the IC title. Like us OGs, that used to be the thing.
Yeah,
You'd win the IC title, lose it, and then you're up, leveled up. And it
right.
hasn't happened as recently, but now I'm thinking with Triple H, we're going to see that, Greg. So now we could see Braun Breaker being groomed to that next level.
Yeah,
So nice segue to like tie and get that for and let Sami Zayn be that person. Which I guess here's the question, just real quick, Greg. Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens, who will get a world heavyweight title first? Well, not first or
man.
next. Because technically Owens already won it, but
True.
or do you think either one? You can have none of the above.
Well, in the near future, neither one of them. But
Yeah,
between the two of them, who gets it next, I would have to go KO.
yeah. I feel like that, but man, I would love to see Sammy win it at Mania or something, and just let his full story come full. Everything underdog about him come full circle. But hey,
Yeah.
Tommy Dreamer never won the big one, Greg, and Tommy Dreamer's a saint in ECW. So I guess technically Tommy Dreamer did win it after the fact, Greg, but he didn't want to. So like I said, Brandon Strowman won, Damian Priest, Jey Uso won. We're off and running with the romance there. Maybe some NXT stuff. Um, we did have Pete Dunne and Trick Williams. They ended in double count out. I thought they announced what's happening next for them, but of course my memory sucks and I can't remember that, Greg. Did they say what the next match is for them since it ended double count out?
No, actually, I missed this show because I was
Okay.
catching up on the other stuff.
Okay.
So I did
Well,
not
I mean,
see
it doesn't surprise us that it ended in double count out because I think it's still early to call a winner in the two.
Yeah.
Some other stuff was Ethan Page interrupted all them, so I think we're just going to get Trick Williams, Pete Dunne, Ethan Page, triple threat at whatever's happening next. The Rascals did defeat Hank Walker, and Tank Ledger and Gallus. This involved Javon Evans. He kind of evened the odds and took out Joe Coffey, which is why he did defeat Joe Coffey. Greg, the young OG, the young original, what a oxymoron of a name, right?
Right.
But Lexus King, remember we were talking about him, Greg? He picked up a win. Jada Parker picked up a win. She did get taken out by Fatal Influence. And then, of course, Julia did come face to face with Roxanne. Chelsea Green did answer the call first, Greg, but of course, Chelsea got taken out. So,
Did Julia take her out or did Roxanne?
Julia took her out.
See,
she's got next. Chelsea Green does not have next. But Chelsea Green did pick up a win last night, Greg. So she did defeat Michin. We did see that Solo is going to challenge Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE title in a steel cage match. Roman back there, Greg, after the match. I mean, the season, the back, coming back to USA Network. What do we think about Apollo Crews squashing Giovanni Vinci?
Loved it. It was, pretty funny. I mean, he's into his new character and his new getup, and being all G'd out, and before you can get your jacket off, you get the roll up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny, and it's going to be one of those ways to start a feud that they don't touch very much. So definitely, it's not going to be the end of it because this is a rivalry that's on his level that we can get him reintroduced, and he'll be more serious about it next time.
Mm-hmm. He'll have to get Baron Corbin next.
Yep. So
what a way to go.
For all those promos, it takes more time to do the promo than it takes to have the match. So it's but he's back. We'll see how he goes.
Mm-hmm. We're seeing the slow burn, Greg, because Austin Theory did pull the leg of Grayson Waller because Waller tried to steal the win, but Kevin Owens gets the win in the end. So we're off and running, Greg, finally on that. And like you said, it'll be interesting to see. We've never really seen. We kind of saw Austin Theory as a face in NXT with the Way by default because they got over, but we have yet to see Austin Theory in a face role on the main roster. So, any kind of thought? I mean, I guess we've kind of gone back and forth on it. So, LA Knight gets the BFTs on Carmelo and Andrade. Looks like another triple threat there. I'm all for it. I think it's a good place for Carmelo and Andrade. I mean, eating L's. Probably you don't want them eating too many L's because both of them have gone back so much. But real it's a nice stepping stone into that title place. What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, you're showing that Carmelo and Andrade are on the same level. I mean, they've been, it started with Andrade getting 2 straight wins, and now
Mhm.
Carmelo's got 2 straight wins, so they're equaling each other out,
Yeah,
and it's a good spot for them. And with one of the most over guys in the whole company with LA Knight, and they're getting a championship opportunity. So
yep,
um, they're still getting elevated, even though they're trading wins and losses with each other.
yeah.
They still earn their way into a title shot. So you always get more respect when you're wrestling in a title match, no matter who you are. So they're still getting raised up, even if they're eating some L's along the way.
And then the bloodline gets the win, Greg. Obviously, good to see Jacob Fatu's good. He was in the match. He took out everybody, took out people, and then yeah, I think that's why Roman's back home next week, Greg, on USA. So
Yeah,
um,
big
and
premiere, new station. You got
the
to
end
have
of
all the
the
big
era on
dogs.
Fox. I kind of thought it'd be longer, Greg. I mean, I guess it was in 2019, but you know, looks like USA had a little more money in the pocket, or else Fox didn't want to pay as much, or something. But a good run on. I mean, yeah, you
Yeah,
had we did have the pandemic, so that kind of played a part in there. But for the most
I'm
part, Greg,
sure.
I mean, there was some pretty solid shows there. I mean, the Bloodline obviously carried SmackDown on Fox.
Hmm.
But we saw the rise of LA Knight. We saw Bailey. That's when Bailey turned heel.
Yep.
Was on, when it was on Fox. So plenty of cool stuff to talk about. All right, are we ready to predict some All Out, Greg?
Yes, sir.
All right, I will let you go first. If you got your glasses on,
Let's see if I had to. Wait.
hit that full
There we
screen
go.
button. I know last week, Greg, you were squinting. You might need to. How are you 50 this year or next year? I mean.
Yeah, as of March, I became officially have a
Oh,
50
that's
year
why.
old.
That's why you're looking harder at the screen. All right, have at it. Which one do you want to tackle first?
Let's see. Let's start light with Mercedes and Hikaru Shida.
And we got the kicker is Camille is banned from ringside, Greg.
Yeah,
So I'm going to say Mercedes, and Mercedes gets a new person in her entourage.
really.
I don't know why. It's all
Okay,
out. We got to pull out the tricks, right?
that's true. But if she can't have one person at
I,
the other at ringside, that doesn't mean she can't have a different one.
I don't
So
know who. Don't ask me who, Greg, but I think they're shenanigans, obviously. Because
yeah,
I think we want to keep having Mercedes win by hook and crook. So I think, I guess you could maybe have Camille try to come out and Britt stops her, but I like the idea of Mercedes building a little faction since that's what they seem to do anyway.
sure,
So,
sure. And who had Camille on their bingo card either? So
exactly. I
uh,
mean, is Anna J doing anything?
probably not.
That could be
So
that. I was just kind of throwing. I mean, that could be a name that needs something, Greg. And I
right.
think she would learn a lot from Mercedes and Camille because Camille's a strong enough wrestler in her own right. I mean, she carried NWA on their little YouTube TV show. So I think she do a lot of good, and it could build into the elite storyline because you have the Jack Perry, Anna Jay duo.
Hmm.
So who knows? But
Yeah,
it's all Mercedes, obviously.
yeah, it is. And as much as we want to, show Sheeta some love, she's become the new job squad.
Yeah.
But I expect the banger of a match because Sheeta is awesome. And but Mercedes, shenanigans are going to be afoot, and so I think something's going to happen or somebody's going to happen, and like you said, and it's not going to happen for her. So Mercedes, one way or the other, will stay champion.
Mhm. How about we'll go the other women's side of things? Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander. This is the CMLL title. Willow holds it. Chicago Street Fight for a Mexican title, Greg.
All right. Welcome to
Yeah.
AEW. We wrestle for all the titles.
in
The
a
titles
in
in
a
our
Chicago
company.
with a
Yeah.
different, not even a Mexican street fight, but anyways. Chris,
Um,
this has got to be Chris. She needs to get over on Willow, like fully.
true, true. I don't know. I think she has been lately. I mean, she's been getting the jump on Willow
That's true. Yeah.
a few times. This might be where Willow gets some retribution.
Yeah.
It
It
is a
is a
street
street
fight.
fight.
Um, I think Stokely's going to definitely get involved at some point. Is it enough for her Chris to win? I don't know. So I will go Oppo, and I will say Willow gets the pound of flesh on her side for once and uh,
Well,
wins the street fight.
Willow did get the tag team win with Ishii, so you never know, Greg.
True.
All right, your turn.
Oh, let's see. Let's do a tag team championship.
Young Bucks versus Claudio and Wheeler. I was very surprised they got this shot, Greg. Because we've been wondering what the heck Wheeler's going to do. He felt kind of, I think he was hurt or something. He just was off TV. And Claudio just did win that big cup he's been walking around with, or he did walk around with last couple weeks ago. They're obviously not winning the tag team titles, Greg, but I do like them getting a step up and being involved with the Elite, even though the Elite, I just don't like the presentation of this yet, Greg. It's been, I don't know. There's just something missing with them now.
Right, and all of a sudden the Young Bucks, or not the Young Bucks, FTR and the Acclaimed are
not in it.
On milk
Grizzled Young
cartons.
Veterans. And Grizzled, I thought we'd get FTR and Grizzled Young Veterans.
Like there you go, yeah.
A 0 hour or something. Which I guess I didn't look at the 0 hour matches. Maybe they are on that, Greg. But
okay.
And who knows? Maybe they come out anyway. I mean, Grizzled Young Veterans technically did come out at the end of the Young Bucks match. So maybe you have the Acclaimed come out afterwards and call out their title shot.
Right. So I think that it's going to stay with the Bucks, but like I said, the revolution is building as far as
who's going to
guys banding together to take down the Elite and get them off their power trip. It's already starting, and Christopher Daniels looks to be the executive that's on the side of. I'm just calling it the revolution as the
roster.
As a overarching symbol that the locker room against the Elite. I'm just calling it the revolution. That Chris Daniels is already there. You can tell FTR is already there, and this is the way to throw the BCC in there because BCC, depending on who you're talking to, they're either heels or faces or heels and faces, depending on who's in there. But they're the guys you're going to want on your side when it's time for the revolution to go down in full effect. But it throws them in the mix, and I think this match is going to get interrupted by somebody, whether it's FTR or the Acclaimed or the GYV. This match won't have a pinfall. I think it's going to get interrupted, and we're going to have chaos.
I'm all for it. Give us a ladder war down the road, Greg.
There you go.
Let's go the other member of BCC. Bryan Danielson defending his title, Greg, against Jack Perry. Who would have thought Jack Perry would be getting a title shot, an AEW world title shot at that, Greg, after the year? Last few months he kind of had the year he's had. So at least it's not Christian yet. I'm guessing we're saving that for Grand Slam. But obviously, it's all Bryan Danielson. I guess I wonder what you know. This is not going to main event as well, right, Greg?
No, it might even start tonight.
Yeah,
Um,
I could see that, or like second to. I mean, I guess second to last is still pushing it, but I wouldn't mind it opening tonight. Just kind of kicking off the night right away with Bryan Danielson out there kicking Jack
exactly.
Perry's head off, kicking the
Yeah.
hair off his head.
I know you have two huge matches to finish tonight. I think this would be a great one to start tonight. Just
Mhm,
get the crowd hot and get us feeling good because we know Brian's going to win this match and get the ball rolling that way.
mhm.
Um, there's going to be some interference in the match from maybe Okada or uh, somebody like that, but it's still going to be Brian Danielson winning. So we're going to have a good match, but you know, Brian all the way.
I guess just an odd spot to put Jack Perry in. I mean,
But it's been a championship picture. I mean,
yeah.
we see him coming back from out of nowhere to getting put on the top shelf with the biggest stars, and
Mhm. Wins the
here he is
title,
in a title match. So
wins the TNT title, makes it his own. So yeah. All
right,
right. Your turn.
let's go back in Osprey.
This one is going to be good. I think we're going to see a lot of strikes, a lot of kicks, a
Yeah,
lot of hits, a lot of flips, just all the barn burner stuff, Greg. Um, it's all Osprey still though, but Pac has to wait. Doesn't quite. He gets a trios title, Greg, win in London and his home country, but gets a one-on-one match in Chicago. Go figure. But I kind of feel like the crowd. I think the crowd will be split on. The Chicago crowds are weird, Greg. So
true.
do you think we see a little bit of like they're just going with the flow and they're cheering whoever? I mean,
Still
Osprey
think it's
still
gonna be
has.
mostly Osprey,
Yeah,
but
that's true. Yeah, now that
um,
really that was kind of a
and
dumb
yeah, Osprey is
over like Grover.
yeah, exactly. um,
Still
but
funny to see Pac as a heel with Claudio and Wheeler as faces, though, right?
right. I mean, it's all or nothing. You got to have everybody heel or everybody face, and Pac is all heel
You
all the
just can't.
time.
Yeah,
So if you can't do it where everybody's on the same page, it's not going to work. So I like Pac as a member of the BCC if everybody is doing on the same path at the same time. I mean,
yeah.
look when the BCC was formed, they were
They
straight
were.
up heels, and there
Yeah,
was no
for
doubt
sure.
about it.
Mhm.
So um, I love that this match is going down. It's going to be one of the best matches of the night. I'm sure of it. But it's still going to be Osprey retaining.
Yep, all for Osprey. Hopefully, gets a nice Assassin's Creed tie-in. Greg, it sounds like that they're really pushing that for him. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
he looks it.
he does.
He
Yeah,
fits the part.
works in the night, as they say. So, we'll go Continental Championship. This is obviously all Okada, Greg, but we got the collaboration. We'll see what Mark Briscoe's word of the night is, and then we get Beast, the Beast Mortos in there, Greg. That should be kind of. This is quite the conflicting styles, isn't it? I mean, you got Okada who can pretty much wrestle any style you want. You got Briscoe, Kung Fu Chicken Fighting, I think, is what his his title is. You got Orange Cassidy who does his thing, Greg, and then you got the Beast who just literally that's his name. Like he doesn't he flips, he does cannonballs that will gore you to death. So this should be I feel like it's gonna be like a train wreck, but a beautiful train wreck, Greg. I don't know, a beautiful car crash.
Yeah, I agree.
All Okada, obviously.
Unfortunately, yeah. This isn't the point where
You're still not in
the
Okada, are you, Greg?
no, I'm still
Yeah.
not there. I don't see it. Um, and I see that they're trying to loosen the
Loosen the string.
personality strings on him, let him show some character. But his matches haven't been anything that I haven't seen a million
Yeah,
times over.
that's true.
I want to see something special out of this dude. If he's that great, and I'm still not there yet. Maybe this will change something. I doubt it, but I
It
always
feels like in cruise control. I
exactly.
don't
I
I
mean,
don't see him, and he does not look comfortable at all, Greg, with where he's at.
all right. Maybe we need to bring or once Kenny gets back and we start having matches with Kenny, that'll pull it out of him, or maybe get him in there with Takeshita or somebody who's more familiar with him, I guess, maybe.
Yeah,
Um, but I just don't see it with Okada yet.
yeah.
Um, the Rainmaker's a good looking move, but how many people we've seen use a clothesline as a finish. So I need to see more that I'm seeing right now out of Okada, but based on his association with the Elite, um, there's no way I see that he loses this match. But
Mhm.
like you said, it's going to be a train wreck. It's going to be awesome, but four very different styles in there. And I don't know. I think Mortos may end up being the star of the match. Um,
Yeah, I could
the
see
way he
like the yeah.
wrestles,
Mhm. I
but
could see them trying to
Okada
let
still
him get the
wins.
most shine,
It,
getting the most shine out of it, just because he's still kind of fresh as well to the
right.
roster, Greg. So, I for some reason I thought Takeshita was it. I guess he's not in this. Maybe I was thinking of something else. I was trying to make sure I didn't put the wrong people in there. Um, but no, that's right. Anyways, um, yeah. So, what do we got left? We got MJF and Daniel Garcia, and then we have I guess. So we're going to assume the main event is Swerve and Hangman, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to
So
be.
let's tackle MJF and Daniel Garcia, Greg, because I am going back and forth with it.
Yeah, yeah. It just feels like something's up. That Garcia is due for some payback, and I love what he's been doing since he came back last week. The promos have been hot. You can feel the animosity between them as you look at them, and I love
Gets,
the promo last or on the last Dynamite
yep,
with
gets taken out
MJF in
by
the
the glass.
audience, and huh?
Gets taken out by the glass. So like you have to think he needs to get the upper hand, right?
Right, at some point he needs to. Um, eesh, it's too soon to kill the rivalry right now. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I I think that for this first match, I
Gotta be
still think
MJF.
MJF finds a way
Yeah.
to sleaze his way into a
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
Maybe the diamond ring, maybe um, having a henchman
Mm,
come out of nowhere and help him win.
yeah.
He's prone to having henchmen in the
He is.
stable. This is the
Yep. That
longest
is
we've seen
true.
him without a henchman.
We haven't seen
Um,
Wardlow back, Greg. So
exactly. I just thought of him.
we need another turn for Wardlow, right?
Yeah, exactly. Uh, so MJF without a henchman is weird to see, but I think that this may be it. We may see the new henchman, and Garcia still come up short in this one. So I'm gonna say MJF.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess when push comes to shove, you're not having MJF lose two big time matches in a row within 2 weeks, Greg. So it's gotta be MJF, but I kind of want Garcia to get the upper hand in the end, Greg, because
Yeah,
there's so much more to gain for Garcia. Like we know where MJF is going. He can he's not quite Teflon Greg, but I think he could lose a feud to Daniel Garcia and show us an even more sadistic side of himself, or more killer side of himself to try to get back at something for him. So maybe
yeah,
Garcia's
for
in a
sure.
TNT title match and he costs him that, and they move on, or something. I don't know. but there's more to gain for Garcia to come out on the end of this feud. If
Yeah.
if
And
they
he
go that
will.
route.
He will,
Well,
in the end of it, he
I
will.
don't know yet. I mean, because it's MJF, Greg. I mean, they there's a lot of bank behind MJF. I mean, he obviously re-signed for probably a good chunk of change, Greg. And now Daniel Garcia, I'm hearing re-signed too. So, there's probably some push to get him, but that's just going to be interesting to see. If we could get both guns over, that's even better. Then
Right.
both the problem solved. But it is hard to get both guys at a higher level, and obviously MJF has already been at the top of the mountain. That's why I think we probably need to give it to Daniel Garcia in a way at some point. But
Yeah.
all right, and finally, an unsanctioned lights out steel cage match. It just sounds like, I guess if you're going to have weapons hanging on the match, where we're going to do the ECW Elimination Chamber weapons match, Greg, but and it is unsanctioned, so I'm calling all for Hangman because then that still gives Swerve the feud win, but Hangman gets one win or two, whatever it is. So,
Yeah.
what a freaking closing shot, though, Greg. Hangman sipping on the beer or whatever, the gasoline in the picture. The Randy Orton burning down the Wyatt compound was high up there, Greg. This Hangman one might go up even a bit more just because you just have Hangman sitting in a chair,
Right.
like sitting, the hair flowing in the wind, sipping on a cocktail or whatever, and that's how you literally set the match to the fire. Set the flame to the fire, Greg. But I'm going to call for Hangman. Um, just it just sounds, but this one has a feel like there's more to it though,
Yeah.
as well. So, what do you
Yeah.
got?
And I love this. And I was all about that ending because that was amazing. And as soon as they announced during the show that Swerve had resigned, and they cut to him, you know, buying his childhood home, I was like,
Yep.
oh, there it is.
Mhm.
You can already see the writing on the wall, and yeah, and then it was a perfect setup with they're supposed to have the contract signing and Heyman being, that guy who's
Mhm.
breaking the fourth wall. It's like, the match is already signed. What are we doing?
Mhm.
And open the door. Whose house?
Mhm.
That was great. And then just sitting in a recliner that he probably pulled out his first house
Yeah.
as he sets his house on fire was beautiful. Um, and great way to end it. And it's him finally getting his payback for Swerve invading his house
Mhm.
and pulling pictures off the walls and talking smack about the people in the pictures, and everything's come full circle. Um, it's beautifully done. It's taken this long for it to come full circle, but that makes it even better. Hangman's gone psycho
I
after.
was gonna say we have
Uh,
the lines drawn now, Greg. We were worried like Swerve was showing some heelish side. There's no way you get your house burned down. Sorry, you can't be a heel. You cannot. You can't be a heel. You can be
yeah,
a
yeah,
badass baby face, but you can't be a heel.
exactly. And now Hangman feels vindicated because he finally took something that meant so much to Swerve away from him and just literally set it on fire, burned it to the ground, which we're going to assume is happening. And it'd be cool if we had to get the after shot on for tonight, and Swerve getting completely unhinged. And we already seen two matches with them and how violent those were. Wait till this match. Oh my! Well, how are they going to top it? And
I mean,
that's
Swerve's
going to
probably going to try
be
to set him on fire, right? I mean,
maybe. I mean,
AAW loves their setting people on fire angles, as we've seen. So
um, but
it's just funny
like
to
you
think of
said,
the steel cage match. Like, how are you going to get to the weapons? because you're not supposed to leave the cage. So I guess they're going to bring the
Right.
weapons in with them. But anyways,
That, or you can have Nana throwing stuff in
yeah,
over the
that's
cage,
true.
or
Yeah.
kendo sticks through the slots, or
Hmm.
um, something. They'll figure it out. I think
Yeah,
there'll be enough room around the cage that they can
that could be.
get under the
Yeah,
apron and pull stuff out.
maybe you could do something. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we'll see tacks, we'll see glass, we'll see
Hmm.
all the most vicious stuff they can think of. There may be a barbed wire bat in there somewhere,
Oh, I'm
but
sure.
um, but like you said, with Swerve already having the first two matches under his belt, um, Paige can win this one, and it still doesn't count.
It doesn't
But
count.
now there's reason to carry this further. If Heyman wins, and Swerve's gonna be even more pissed off, and then Heyman can take the route that, okay, I'm satisfied now. You can go away,
Hmm.
and you can work it from the other angle with
Hmm.
Heyman having the upper hand. So um, so much to this that you could work out of it and keep this rivalry going, because it's an amazing rivalry. I'm gonna say Hangman wins.
And that Chicago crowd better not be bizarro, and they better boo the heck out of Hangman Page tonight.
Yeah,
Why do we think, Greg, that probably Chicago people, Chicagoans are crazy nuts? So watch them cheer the hell out of him and just totally swerve the whole match. But anyways, yes. So um, All Out's always a good pay per view, Greg. So and of course they just celebrated the anniversary of All In a few days ago. So AEW in Chicago, Greg, just feels right. I
yep,
think we're going to get a hot crowd. I think the match. I think we're going to get some just top to bottom. The wrestling is going to be there,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I feel like we'll probably be exhausted afterwards. That type of feeling. So thank goodness it's on a Saturday, so we can enjoy the Sunday. But um, tomorrow's football, Greg. Who do you got? Your Chargers. They're gonna. Who they got tomorrow?
Believe that we get to start the season beating down the Raiders.
Oh yeah,
You
it's all
can't
conference
get
or
better
all
than
division
that.
games. So
Oh man, and we got a Hangman and Swerve situation going on, because the last time the Raiders faced the Chargers, we took a 60 burger to the face,
mm,
and
uh-oh.
but I'm not salty about it, because that was the game that ended the Brandon Staley era and the Tom
Mhm.
Telesco era,
Okay.
and that got the wheels in motion to bring in Harbaugh, because
Yeah.
um, the Spanos family, they've been into bringing in the next big thing as far as head coaches who had no experience, was
Yeah.
their first job as a head coach, and because he's a defensive genius, he's
Mhm.
going to be great.
Yep.
And we went from
It's
Brandon
never
Staley, we
happened.
had Anthony Lynn before him, we had Mike McCoy before him, and just all these guys who had never had any experience coaching. They come in, they have one good year, and then everything would go downhill.
Mm.
And after this beatdown last year, they finally said enough is enough. No more first time coaches. We're going to open the checkbook and bring in, the biggest guy we can get with some clout. And there's Harbaugh over there off with national championship in Michigan. And he's come in, he's turned over about 2/3 of the roster.
Yeah.
And we are looking really, really, really good with, uh, we took some L's as far as having to let Keenan Allen get, or trading Keenan Allen, let Mike Williams go.
Yeah.
But they had to. They were 50 million over the cap thanks to the previous regime, and they had to do cap gymnastics just to get under the cap so they could sign anybody.
Mhm.
So they had to go bargain basement and pull in some guys that didn't have good years last year. We got brought in some Carolina Panthers. We brought in a bunch of Ravens. We brought in a bunch of Tennessee Titans who had subpar years, but it's figured that, we give them 1 year contracts. They ball out. They either get paid by us or they get paid by the next team. And
True.
then the Chargers get comp picks. So win-win for everybody.
Yep.
And so now is the payback game. And I fully expect my Chargers to lay a beat down on the Raiders like they did to us last season. But at the same time, it wasn't uh, a true beatdown in the sense the team laid down for the Raiders. Uh, they interviewed Brandon Staley the before that game, and they asked him if he's lost the locker room because they'd already had a losing record. Justin Herbert was already out with broken fingers on both hands, and he's like, "No, I haven't lost the locker room. We're still competitive. We still haven't been blown out of the building yet. We're
And then
and
boom.
yeah, and the team was like, oh, really? That's what he thinks? Okay, hold my beer." And they went out and they laid down for the. If you lose to anybody, you can lose to every other team in the league. Don't get whooped by the Raiders,
Yep.
and for them to humble themselves and allow themselves to get steamrolled by the Raiders. There's your message, and even Alex or Spanos saw it, and he's like, "Okay, that's enough," and he tapped out and brought in Harbaugh. So uh, I'm super stoked. This game is going to be a beatdown of epic proportions. I'm sure of it, and we're going to start the season off on the right foot. Your Colts, I think, are going to have a much more harder task. What they got the Texans, right?
Yeah, we got the Texans, who's pretty much what the darling of the AFC South, and I mean it's all about Anthony Richardson, Greg. We got to see him play a full game because
Yeah,
he's
hasn't
yet to
happened
do
yet,
that.
has it?
Has not happened. He played a little bit of 4 games last year, if that. I think he got knocked out one game, then was out a game, went back and forth. So I think after game 4, it was the IR, whatever, then he was permanently moved to the injury list. So it's all about it's all about Anthony Richardson and seeing what he can do. And like I said, the Colts have not won a season opener in 10 years. 10 years, Craig. They've started
Yeah.
0-1. Sorry. So
Yeah, go to my
I don't.
sports book and putting the bet down right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say people might be betting that on like the next 10 years just to have it set in stone. But yeah, I I have no clue what to expect too because it's like we we've seen glimpses of what Anthony Richardson can do. He had 12, 13 games at Florida. A few games last year. Practices and you could talk all you want about training camp, mini camp, involuntary camp, Greg, but it doesn't matter until you go on the field and you're getting hit for real. Like,
Right.
then we'll see. Because that's the thing. Like, if he gets knocked out again this year, we're kind of back where we were a couple years. Do we just have to wait? We almost have to wait another year to kind of see where he's at. So, you know, their GM is going to the year 8, I think it is, Chris Ballard, which is probably unheard of, Greg, for GMs nowadays, especially with one
Yeah.
playoff win in those 8 years. People have joked he might have a job for life at this rate because obviously Jim Irsay still believes in him. If Irsay knows what's going on sometimes, Greg, but he had his own issues in the off season in December, had a medical emergency, and nobody really talked about it, which was weird. But yeah, Jonathan Taylor, I think will have a good season.
Is he ready to go? Is he healthy?
Oh yeah, he's ready to go because he played. Remember, once he got the contract done, he was all good last year, Greg. Weird how that works. It's a miracle. So you just got to pay the man and hope he lives up to those numbers. So Michael Pittman Jr. coming back for third year, I think it is. Alec Pierce in his second year. You still wonder about the wide receivers because there's just not those names that Greg. So that's
Right.
probably still a concern. And then I think it's the safeties. Pretty much the starting safeties are their big hitters, Greg. Then after that, it's like, number 54, 55. Like there's nothing. So the defense could be an issue if you want to go down the field on them. But I think it's just all about Anthony Richardson. It's like you with Herbert, right? I mean, broken fingers on a guy on a quarterback, Greg. That's not exactly a good thing. So
No.
and Harbaugh got out while the getting was good because Michigan got placed on sanctions right afterwards, right? So
Yep.
yeah, how about that? And now he has, if he goes back to college, he will have to sit out a year. So he still does
Right.
have
For
that
4 years,
look.
you got a
Oh,
5-year ban. So after
yeah.
the fifth year, he can go back and not have any penalties.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know there was a time frame to it, but yeah. So
There is, yeah.
um, crazy. So good timing on him, but it was probably due. Why not get out while you're on top? I guess, and on bottom, Craig. So
And that's good for us Chargers because we got him for 5 years. Let's go.
yeah, yeah.
I think we'll get to a Super Bowl by that in that time frame. Um, but shout
Chiefs
out
still
to the
look like the
Dukes.
Chiefs.
Huh?
The Chiefs still look like the Chiefs, though. It's gonna be a tough AFC.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to catch the Chiefs this year, but I think we will catch the Chiefs within the next 3 seasons.
Okay. Yeah.
Next season, instead of being under or over the cap by 50 million, we're going to be under the cap by about 60 million. We're going to have the most cap space of any team in the league. And he had to shop out of the bargain basement this season. Wait till we see what he can do when he actually has money to spend.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I'm excited for that. But going back to your game,
Mhm,
and shout out to the Dukes of Football for having me on for
mhm.
their NFL preview show this past uh, Wednesday. Shout out to Dan and Damon. Uh, Great show. Thanks for having me on. And I put my prediction out to them that one of my bold predictions for this season is that Houston will lead the league in points scored.
Okay.
And I think they're going to boat race, well, not boat race everybody, but they're going to outscore everybody. Um, with the weapons that they added, bringing in Stephon Diggs, bringing in Joe Mixon
That's right. Yep.
to go along with Tank Dell and Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz, who they brought over from the Cowboys. This offense is going to be elite. And I think they're going to be the highest scoring team in the league. And it's not going to be a matter of, uh, if you can score with them, is can you score with them? Because they're going to be scoring points at a ridiculous rate, um, straight out the box with the weapons they have. Unless injuries happen in mass
Yeah.
all at once, that they're going to beat teams because you can't keep up with them on the scoreboard. Um, so to that end, I have them in the Super Bowl this year.
Yep.
So that's my bold prediction for one of my bold predictions for this season. And
And CJ
I'll be
Stroud
watching your Colts
looks
game
like
for sure to see if my prediction proves true. But
Stroud looks like
um,
the real deal, Greg. I mean,
they,
CJ
they,
Stroud looks like
he
this
is.
next. It's funny because I still kind of think of Patrick Mahomes as this next generation. Now he's like the old man, and that like if him and like probably a big season for Josh Allen, isn't it? For him to finally do something in the Bills.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
mean, he's way overdue for as good as he is, and not as far as he's gotten is the
is he the
NFC
same?
Championship.
He's the same age as Herbert, right? That was the same draft class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was Mahomes in that? Was he a year ahead of them?
What? Let's see. No, I think wasn't Josh Allen? I think a year before because he was in that class with Baker Mayfield and
Oh, okay. Okay.
um,
Gotcha. So Josh
so
Allen. Okay.
yeah, I think it was the year before Justin Herbert. But they're still on the same timeline. I think
Yeah.
Josh Allen may be year 6.
Yeah.
Mahomes on year 7.
Okay.
Um, so, and I think Herbert's on year 5. So they're
Yeah.
all separated by about a year each. And yeah, it's going to be exciting, but it's time for Josh Allen to rise up. And it's hard to say now that he's lost his number one target
That's
or
true.
2 of his number one targets.
Yeah. I was
He's
to say they.
no
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs, no Gabe Davis anymore. So, um, so he's doing it over again with a bunch of um, names we don't know as his receivers. They got Keon Coleman in the draft, and um, Khalil Shakur is
Yeah.
probably one of his top 2 options.
Yeah.
So, what's he going to do now? But this is a put up or shut up type of year for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like you got Brock Purdy trying to show he's not a one hit wonder with the 49ers. So
Yeah.
definitely some. But I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, Greg, and we'll see if people could catch him because they might a mini dynasty is what they're building or what they have there. So
I know Baltimore almost caught him if
that's true.
Isaiah Likely had a shoe size one smaller.
Yeah, that's true. Went out. Yeah.
It's gonna be tough for them this year. They might get back there, but it's gonna be a hard road. They're gonna eat
You
some
always
young
wonder about
boys.
that hangover, like they always say. The Super Bowl hangover is real, so you do wonder there. But yeah, so all right. Well, we will talk up all out next week. See what breaks down tonight. Enjoy it live at 8 o'clock pay-per-view time. Live in good old Chicago, like we said, crowds are always crazy there. We'll get all WWE week on USA next week, Greg. So we'll have that for about 2 weeks, I think, and then CW, which we all have to figure out where that's at, Greg, because I have no clue where the CW's at. Or I'll have to figure out if I can watch it stream somewhere the next day. That will be where NXT is going to be. They're actually doing the first 2 episodes from Chicago and then from St. Louis, and CM Punk has been billed to be there for the Chicago show, and of course Randy Orton on NXT. Greg, who would have ever thought Randy Orton on NXT TV in St. Louis? So we'll see what they'll, if they match up with anybody, if they're just there. But yeah, those first, I feel like the USA shows for SmackDown are going to be barn burners. They're going to try to throw everything they can, and I think those CW NXT shows are going to try to throw us some championship matches and see where we're running. Bad Blood's coming up next month, and then we're off and running to a Survivor Series. So gotta see when those Royal Rumble tickets go on sale, Greg. I have not heard anything yet, so I'm getting nervous because I'm like, okay, you feel like by now it would have had some tickets on sale. So hopefully we'll see some ticket sales soon, and we'll be in touch to see what we can make happen for that. So, but my throat is dry. No commercial breaks for us here, Greg. We are
Iron Man.
We are we are Iron Man in this. So we'll get some commercial breaks next week to kind of break it up a little bit. But enjoy tonight, enjoy the weekend, and enjoy the last few days of last couple weeks of summer as it hopefully gets into cooler weather soon. But yeah, we will talk to you guys next week.
Peace.